What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fantasy players around the world? Drag Illustrated proudly brings to you the tag team experts of drag racing, Elon Warner and Rex Simamaker. I'm your host, JT Hudson, and we're about to send it through the water box and launch another episode of Who You Got, the NHRA and drag racing's gaming and fantasy show from the Trailblazers at DI. This week, we're heading to Norwalk for the Summit Racing Equipment Nationals. You know we got you on all your bets. The dynamic duo of Rex Simamaker, the mastermind behind Winlight Bets, and Elon Warner, the brains of Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. These guys are the best in the biz, and that's the truth, folks. And they're here to break it all down for you guys. We've got the latest odds, fresh lines, and some bold picks that I'm sure will get you off tilt. Plus, we'll be diving into the hottest trends and stats. You know Elon's got that juicy fan data from Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. So strap in and join us for episode 3 of Who You Got. It's time to get in the game, but remember, folks, gambling money has no home. Let's get it. What's up, my guys? How you doing today?
JT, man, it's always good to be on with you and Rex. So another busy week. So we're excited to get to it.
Yep. This week we're heading to Norwalk. How you doing, Rex?
We like it. Yeah, gentlemen, always good to see you. Always good to be back here talking our favorite sport, and a good way to make a few bucks doing it.
That's right. That's right. It's the Summit Equipment Norwalk Nationals, and they're doing something special for you, aren't they?
Yeah, so Summit Racing Equipment stepping up to sponsor the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza this week. So they're throwing in extra gift certificates for every winner, top 3 finishers, and overall top fuel, funny car, pro stock motorcycle. Plus, they're giving away gear bags and this. Now again, just like with Play NHRA, something else that's really cool that I'm not eligible to do. They're giving away this double chair combo that has a cooler between it.
Oh,
so
that's
we're
my
doing
kind of chair.
Gear bag, double chair combo. We're giving 2 of those away for a social media contest, and we're going to just randomly pick 2 people that fill out brackets. So you don't have to win. 2 people that fill out brackets this weekend for the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza are going to win.
What did you say you had to do in order to win that? What'd you say?
You just basically got to fill out your bracket. Right. And then we're going to randomly draw. So you basically have hopefully a 1 in a couple thousand chance of winning the gift bag just for filling out the bracket.
I like it.
Now, we're pretty good friends. What do you think about maybe picking me?
Yeah, okay. The beauty is, just like the randomizer button on your brackets, we had my IT guy, because we've done these contests before, and he's like, oh, yeah, he goes, I can just set it up to just randomly just pick, like you just, bam, and it just kicks out a username.
That's awesome.
And
but I would like to win, Elon.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. It's back-to-back races with sponsors. Hagen Cattle Company last week, so they gave some premium ground beef, and now we got gift certificates and lawn chairs and gear bags and all kinds of stuff. So it's I love being able to give stuff away. People dig it. It's still funny. People are still, when we send them the email that say they won, they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize I could win a prize." So
right,
that's pretty cool. So, but yeah, it was a good weekend for us in Virginia.
Yeah, I love the tech stuff, but JT, wouldn't it be nice if we could freeze one of those tickets and make him pull the frozen ticket out for us?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not above it,
Reach into the basket and find the wadded up ticket. I know all your tricks, right. Rex. I know all your tricks. Take it to the bottom.
I've always thought that too. Like when you're in those contests, do you fold it or do you leave it leave it whole, or you fold it twice? What do you do?
Have a technique on how you're putting your. If you don't have a technique on how you're putting your names in little draw things like that, you're doing it wrong.
You are. My technique when I was a kid was stand there as long as possible and put my name in until they made me leave.
JT's also ironically been thrown out of 37 Costco's across the country on buffet day. Sir, you can't eat all the Swedish meatballs.
No, you can't do that.
You're going to have that.
Oh.
Fair.
Yeah.
So we had a pretty good week last week. And again, to the listeners out there, if you were wanting to place any wagers or play the better or worse games on Underground, you can go to nxtbets.com / NHRA, and it'll show you in your area, in your state, where you're eligible to play.
Yeah. And I think they actually have it also, if it's just like a NHRA.com / play NHRA, will take you right to that portal.
Okay.
Which is,
yeah, and that portal's super handy. So who's carrying the lines.
Which is cool. They actually gave us a little seminar on it, and I didn't realize it's kind of like Expedia. Like you go on there, and it just shows you all the different places you can place bets, and then you have a chance to win, whether it's fantasy or betting. But it was just kind of like, oh, this is actually, I'd like to have this for NFL.
Absolutely.
Because it just gives you everybody's options, so you see all the offers. So NHRA.com / play NHRA, or I can never, JT, I can never remember that, ntx.com /
I know, right? But it'll help you out. And if you go there, it'll show you if you can, where you can place bets and where you can't place bets. If you can't place bets, it won't show up. Like on mine, the Underground Fantasy app shows up on mine. I'm in Missouri. So, but I did go there, and I think they're still working on all that. So some places, it's not available. Of course, that's just how it is. I'm not sure.
Your congressperson.
Yeah,
your congressperson if it's not available where you live.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Keep in mind. So 5 years ago, when PASPA was passed, what it did was, Congress said, we're done trying to figure this out at a national level. Let the states decide.
Yeah.
And so that means every state has to figure out whether they want sports gambling, and then do they want, what type of sports gambling do they have? Do they want fantasy leagues? Do they just want fantasy leagues? Do they not want fantasy leagues? All this stuff. So every state kind of has a different take on that and how they, what they allow. There's a lot of states now that are saying you can't have prop bets on college sports. That's kind of their, they're all trying to decide where the line is. And so that's why it's just going to take a little bit for this to shake out. And some people watching today are going to be in a state that it isn't legal to do so yet. Yeah. And keep in mind, you're doing it from your phone, and they know exactly where you are. With that
they do. In Missouri, there's people that go up to Iowa, of course, and place their bets. Illinois, I have some friends that are farmers, and when they're hauling beans over to Illinois, they place their bets. And by Arrowhead in Kansas City, there's an off ramp just over on the Kansas side, and it on game day on Sunday for NFL, it is backed up clear down the interstate because that's the off ramp where your phone picks up the new tower.
Crazy.
Well, they know, like if you're in the middle of the state in Missouri, they will check your phone like it might be every minute. But as you get closer to the state line, they can check every second if they want. And so they know exactly where you're at within the state, whether you're legal or not to do it. And there are no, they're not goofing around with that.
There's no workarounds. You're either legal or not legal.
That's
right. That's right.
And let's all be legal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
and with the news in the NHRA, we did have a horrific accident at the track with John Force, and our thoughts and prayers are out with him. But I'll let you kind of take that from here, Elon.
Yeah. So there have been a couple updates. John is in the hospital. He's being monitored. His family's with him. That's the good thing is he's surrounded by people that are caring about him. And really, there's been a lot of questions about getting more information or, what people can do. And I would say if you're a person that prays, pray for John Force. If that's not your bag, you just want to keep a good thought for him. But really, there's no timeline on information. And I know people get anxious about wanting to know. And, when it's appropriate to release information, I'm sure the team will release information. I don't think there's any big conspiracy about hiding anything. It just takes time. He's 75 years old. That was a really serious accident. And they're just doing everything they can to make sure he's getting the best care as possible.
Yes. And it's not as easy as going in and just having the diagnosis right there in front of you.
Right.
They could be in limbo as well. You just got to give the family a little bit of time here. We talked about it on the West Nick show.
I've used this example if one of the three of us was in a car crash, just a regular fender bender on the highway,
Right.
there are lawyers that make millions of dollars telling you, don't talk to the insurance company, talk to a lawyer, because your injuries could present 2 or 3 days after. You could be rear-ended and you feel fine, and then 2 days later, your back is all jacked up.
Right.
You know, I'm 55 years old. You know, John is 75. So they're evaluating him, and he's, you know, they're just keeping an eye on him. And it's going to take a while for his body to just naturally react to everything that happens. So I don't think there's, you know, I think we just need to be patient and mindful of the family and just let the game come to us a little bit. When information's available, they'll tell us. When it's not, just, you know, it truly can be, no news can be good news.
That's very true. Very true. And people are in this time in the world, everybody is so plugged in. They expect the information quick. You know, John Force is definitely celebrity status,
Sure.
and that makes it worse, you know, but they will get it to us as soon as they can. And, you know, with that being said, we don't know really about, well, John definitely won't be racing if someone else is going to be taking over his ride in the foreseeable future. And we don't know much about Brittany either, do we, at this point? If she's going to be able to make the race.
A little gray about, you know, one of their latest announcement kind of, you know, gave the impression that she may not be racing at Norwalk, but that's obviously her decision, and she's on the entry list. So we'll just have to wait and see about that.
Yep. But keep him in your thoughts and prayers, everybody.
Yep.
Any other news in the NHRA?
Yeah, we've got on the exact opposite side of that. We'll have you know, a new little Stewart in what I would probably say is the fastest stroller in the United States. And so we have congratulations going out to Tony and Leah on their announcement. They're going to have a little boy. So that's really cool stuff. Can
we also all agree what a missed opportunity that is? Just tell us you're pregnant. Let us get some play NHRA action on.
I know, right?
Are you having a boy or a girl?
That's right.
Now we're just left with reaching out to play NHRA to let us wager on day it's born and the weight.
The overall,
you could have had a kick-ass supply of diapers if you just let us wager on boy or girl.
Yep, over and under on before or after the expected due date. Yeah, we could. Some side thoughts going here.
I'm just saying, Alt Sports Day to get on it.
Last week, let me add this here to the screen. Elon was the big winner.
Yes,
big winner. So how we did this is we started out with 400. We'll call them who you got, chips or tokens or dollars or however you want to look at it. But that's what we started with, and we made 4 picks in the 4 categories. And Elon had 2 winners, and he had pretty good odds.
Yeah, Aaron Stanfield came through for me. My Aaron Stanfield Pro Stock pick,
786 plus 786 on Aaron. So that was a good pick for you. And then we all had Gage.
Yeah,
wishing he won again. You know, so we basically just got our money back and enough for a cheeseburger with that deal. But it's definitely not a money making pick.
Yeah, so this is the fun. Like I had my picks written down, and I hadn't looked at them until like right before the finals. And when I saw that I still had Gage, okay, that's fine.
Right.
But when I remembered that I had picked Aaron, I was like,
woohoo!
Hell yeah. Like with no actual bets, I was like, because also his wife and cute little daughter were in the press room watching, and they're all excited. And I'm thinking, man, if I was not an NHRA employee, this would have also, I'd be high-fiving you like a madman right now.
That's funny. Rex didn't have quite a good as a day.
It's hurtful. It's hurtful. I don't like it. There's a long season. Let's be honest. There's a long season, and we didn't put the whole mortgage on this last weekend. But this isn't what I wanted to see.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to say only gamble what you can lose. In all seriousness, do not overextend yourself. There's data on when you go to the Play NHRA site, someone's got a problem. You think someone has a problem, talk to them, but don't try to. We are just having fun, but do not try to bet your way out of a massive deficit.
Don't chase bad money.
Don't chase bad money.
Gambling money has no home. I say it all the time. Old boy told me that in the bar years ago, and it's always stuck with me. But poor Tyler. I didn't put him on here. I saved him the embarrassment, but he was 0-4, so he donated.
Yeah, he's actually working extra shifts at Virginia Motorsports Park right now to.
Right.
Well, let's move into our hole shots.
Yes. So,
and we'll start out here with a Pro Stock Motorcycle event winner. And look at that. We said last week we'd never see these odds again. We did, everybody. We did, and they're from the same guy, Gage, at minus 552. Holy cow.
Fascinating.
I mean, there's how do you not? He's now taken the best. He took the best from Matt Smith. He took the best shot from his teammate, Richard Gadsden, who I'll just go ahead and jump right in. Richard is my pick to win Norwalk. That's the Pro Stock guy that I'm backing. I'm going in on Richard Gadsden. I think he actually ends his own teammates. The win streak stops at 10 races and probably 40 rounds.
Wow. Yes. That's wild. And then here, I'm going to take Matt Smith. I do think we got to, at some point, somebody's got to end this, right? I mean, we say that, but it's not happening.
This is Rex's chance to just play the smart money, even if it's only, little money, to just take Gage and just try to dig himself out of the hole. Go ahead, Rex.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with what works. That's what I just do. I just go with what works. Gage, he stages, he wins. That's what I'm betting on.
Perfect.
I like it. Any other favorites that you see here? These odds are great though. I mean, like if you do like somebody, I mean, man, you could make some money on these.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth, if you want to have a chance to win, to put $20 on Matt, Chase, Richard, and Angie and Steve, you're in for $100. And look at you're going to cover those 5 people. If one of them beats, it's almost taking the field versus Gage to some extent.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, and to put it like a little bit in different terms, so you take Hector Arana, in this
the defending winner.
Yeah, right. It's like you pick the number on a roulette table. I mean, the roulette table has 36 numbers, so it's as close as we can get in there. But I mean, it's essentially going, hey, and that's better. Like there aren't 36 drivers here; there are only 16. So it's better than going to the roulette table if you're going to put it.
Well, is it if the roulette table has 36 slots, Rex? Really, and there's 16 guys. Gage is in 20 of those slots.
That's right. And he has the 000. He's got him. He's got
and his slots are like twice as wide as everyone else's slots. Everyone else's slots are exactly the width of the ball. Gage's is twice as wide and potentially magnetic.
Right.
I'm going to move on here to Pro Stock event winner, and Greg Anderson is coming out as the favorite. You guys agree with that?
Good with that. I think Rex, who's your Pro Stock pick right here?
I'm gonna go with Jeggy. Like he's going home essentially, right? So it's I don't know. You always have a little bit comfort level. I know it's not Columbus, but it's home state. So I just feel good with Jeggy.
I'm gonna take Greg Anderson because I don't know if he showed he's racing a Summit car this weekend at the Summit Nationals at Summit Motorsports Park, and I guarantee when you take the hood off that car, I tweeted about it. When you take the hood off that car, if at least half a dozen bald eagles don't fly out of that car, that thing's the most American-looking hot rod I've ever seen.
That's fine. It is look good, doesn't it?
Yeah, good point.
Man, we'll get some competition going in between us here. I'm gonna go with Erica.
Okay.
She saw her partner win last week, and I bet she wants some of that too, huh?
Yeah, that's all. I was debating about where the Erica anger level gets. She just gets irritated and irritated.
Yep. It's pretty good, and that whole team seems pretty stoked too.
Yeah,
I know. One of the crew guys for Aaron, Travis, he thought he was cursed. You know, because since he went over to that team,
and
they
won.
made it to the
That's
finals,
good.
but they hadn't won. Yeah, so he was pretty dang happy. And then, so for top fuel,
Now we're getting into the money round right here. I think there's some really interesting odds in Funny Car and Top Fuel. I think
look how close those top 5 are.
Yeah, I mean that's a pick 'em kind of deal. You could chance to win on all those guys. I think Tony Stewart's been running so good. I'll tell you what impresses me, and this is a tip of the hat to TJ Zizzo's team. The fact that TJ Zizzo's raced one race. Now, granted, he made it to the semis and was number 1 qualifier in Chicago, but Zizzo at plus 15-13 to Tony Schumacher's 17-21. I'm just curious. Again, all the factors, they take thousands of things into consideration. But I am going to go. I'm going to pick Tony Stewart this weekend. I think this is the weekend Tony Stewart breaks through.
Wow. I like it. Well, Rex took him last week, right? And he just kept going rounds. I was like, oh.
And yeah. And maybe a little bit too. I mean, the big announcement he had, you never know. Sometimes you relax just a little bit and feel good. And all of a sudden the win lights start coming on.
Yep. I'm going to roll with Steve Torrance again. I'm just going to keep rolling with him until he wins. He's going to do it, man. I'm going to roll with them Catco boys.
And my long shot pick beyond TJ Zizzo is Josh Hart. He's going to have some news coming out this week. But of all the people that are plus 2,000, Josh Hart by far is your best bet on that.
And that odds is 3301 if you're not being able to see that graphic on there. And wow, so 100 to win $3,301. That is some
strong.
Pretty good. Yeah,
and that team's going to win. That team is going to come together, and they're going to be someone that, like you're saying, you're going to stay with Steve Torrance.
Yep.
Josh Hart fans out there are pretty passionate. They can dive in on that and pay for a little mini vacation if their chance to win.
Rex, who you got? I'm
going to go with AB. It's a little quick trip up the road here from Indy, and I think he's due. I don't have any other thing other than a gut feeling, and I feel like he's due. So I'm going to go with AB.
It is pretty wild though. Even the 1, 2, 3, 4. Even the top 8 in this are just so close. It's wild.
But look at the category as it stands now. I mean, that's so cool that the odds truly are reflective of how competitive the class is.
Right. Okay.
I think you can make an argument that's as competitive, 1 through 16 as it's ever been.
Yeah,
in history of the sport.
And then Funny Car, Austin Prockett, 425 is the favorite. And then Matt Hagan right behind him at 480. And then a little jump to Caps at 714. Who wants to start us out with their pick here? Oh, I'm going to take this week. I'm going to take Tasca.
This is the one we were talking about in our show prep, that the top 4 or 5, as long as you can keep them over 400, it's almost a no lose. You're not going to win a lot, but you're not going to lose a lot.
Right.
But I'm going to take a flyer on Dan Wilkerson. He's done well here. Tim's done well. I think they've got a car that can run in the heat. There's some, I'm going to take Dan Wilkerson. And my long shot pick, got to go with my heart. My man, Chris King, part-time racer. He's getting his stuff together. I would love to see like a head-to-head, because I would do, some of these head-to-head races with some of these guys here at the bottom, because it's just interesting to see because those guys are all potentially bracket busters. No offense to them. But if you could do a head-to-head of like who's going to go further, Joe Morrison, Buddy Hull, Chris King, that would be a cool little some action to get in on that.
It would. I kind of like those head-to-head matchups.
Yeah. Kind of like
a little bit easier to win too.
8 stacks on my $100 bet too if they made it all the way to the.
You're right.
I'm going to keep it rolling with Ron Capps. I liked him last week. It didn't quite work out, but that's where we're going this week. We're going to stay with that.
And Caps is at 714. So yeah, I mean, all these will pay pretty good. So good job, y'all there. And then I don't know if you guys ever want to pick next week. Next week we'll go ahead and pick champions. I know we're a little late to the party on that, but we might as well go ahead and do that as well.
And the cool thing about this is when you start looking at this, it gives you an idea of how we can roll into Norwalk with Dinsy's Deets.
Right.
And look at Dave Dinsmore's kind of giving us some tips. And it's funny because, JT, you're going to like this. Steve Torrance could be one of those guys, to keep an eye on. 6 appearances at Summit Motorsports Park where he's, won 3 times.
Liking what you're saying.
16-3 round record. And then probably the most even matchup last week was the Justin Ashley, Tony Stewart matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about 2 high caliber teams that are kind of, it's a little early to say, but they're moving in different directions. Justin's gone out the last 2 races in the first round. Tony Stewart's been going well, best ET, race to another semifinal. So he is definitely on a roll. So I'd say Smoke is trending, and Justin, they got a good team over there, but they just hit kind of a bad stretch. And on Funny Car, you guys both picked the favorites. Caps and Pasca have been to the final 4 round. The winningest drivers at Norwalk aren't racing anymore. Beckman and Mike Neff both have multiple wins there. And they pretty much said, we've won there. We don't need to do that. We'll just go do other things. Blake Alexander is the defending winner. Got to keep an eye on him. He's running pretty good. And then we talked about a little bit, Austin Prock. Have a lot on his mind, but also that motive, that he said after he won Virginia that it took him a while to get his head right. But when he did, he was dang near unstoppable in the semifinals and finals. So Pro Stock, the 2 favorites, basically historically, Greg Anderson, Erica Enders, they've been leading the way for KB Titan Racing and Elite. But then the 2 young guns, Aaron Stanfield and Dallas Glenn, with, if you want to take a flyer, Chris McGahey won at Norwalk in 2019. And that is the last time a car that was not a KB Titan car or an Elite car won a national event. 2019 Norwalk. What's that tell you about the dominance of those 2 teams? And then finally, we touched on it. Gage Herrera is a freight train that is going to keep rolling until it runs out of coal or whatever. But 2 people to keep an eye on: Hector Rana Jr., who's the defending winner, and Richard Gadsden, who got him all the way to final. And that race at Virginia was just about a coin flip. They left together. They almost at half track, they were welded together. Gage just had a little bit more at the top end. And Matt Smith is a 3-time Norwalk winner. So you just never know, what can happen. But I think we're also going to see, while similar conditions to Virginia, where it's going to be hot, they're predicting some rain on Saturday, and then Sunday could be cool. So the crew chiefs are going to earn their money at the Summit Racing Equipment Norwalk Nationals. And you can get more Dinsy's Deets if you sign up for Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. They go out Friday at 11 a.m. And it's got stats. It's got more guys talked about. There's more information, and it also gives some cool stats about the track. Norwalk is a track that's got a rich history, but it's basically gets used twice a year really for significant events. Norwalk Nationals first, and then probably hands down right now the greatest single day in drag racing for a one-off event. The Night Under Fire in August. If you haven't been, it is a slice of Americana. Match racing, altereds. It's a great show. The Baiters put on an amazing event. And then I would put their fireworks show up against
anybody,
any
right?
New Year's Eve fireworks like New York City, LA, Sydney. I mean, the Baiters, it is just when you think you got to the finale, it just keeps going. And you're like, oh, that wasn't the finale?
Right.
Are there any fireworks left in the country? I think they take, since they have their event in August, I think the Baiters have some kind of side deal with fireworks manufacturers, and they get all the leftover unused, unsold fireworks from July 4th, and they shoot them off at night under fire because they won't last a year.
Yeah, maybe. If you ever get a chance to talk to him too,
Sure.
like super interesting guy to talk to, very knowledgeable. Yeah, I mean, like if you're ever around him, just be a sponge and soak it up because he has a lot of good shit to say.
Yeah, he does. But that's Dinsy's Deets. So again, it's free. It's also good information if you're doing Play NHRA to take this and use this as more data for your picks.
Yep, it's great information. When I was reading it, I just couldn't believe how in depth it was.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Let's take a look back at some of the picks made last week by.
Yeah. So we
explain us what we got here, Elon.
Yeah. So when the brackets open, people start making their picks, and probably 30% of the brackets get filled out in the first hour and a half after they get opened. And Pro Cycle Motorcycle, Gage Herrera was continues to be an overwhelming favorite. Almost 69% of the people thought he was going to win the race.
It's almost surprising as a straight up pick 'em that it wasn't more dominant than that, actually.
Right. And so Matt Smith's still holding strong. But then you just basically look at everybody else. Richard Gadsden had a 1.5% chance of, all the picks, just like on the Play Nature, all the money is going to Gage and Matt. And that holds up even on our bracket deal.
Yep. It's a good representation of it. I couldn't even get that out, boys. All right. And Pro Stock,
but this one was kind of really interesting. The big three, Erica, Dallas, and Greg, have all won. But then when Aaron Stanfield gets in the mix, I think you're going to see those again. Now that he's won, he's going to have more fan confidence. But I love these graphs because it really does give you an idea of, and we released these right before we released them internally right before first round. And then we start posting them throughout the afternoon for our bracket busters and things like that. But we've had situations where Reading last year, Kyle Koretsky and Matt Hartford were in the final, and they basically had been selected by less than 2% of the people to win the races, both of them. And that just shows you how unpredictable our sport is.
Right.
Yeah.
And so only 3.5% picked Aaron to win, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was Aaron, his mother and father.
Yeah, basically Aaron and all the elite guys are on his crew.
Yeah, yeah. Let's fly over here to Funny Car and Austin Prock again. Yeah,
yeah, and Austin was he is consistently the most picked driver of all four categories. That's the confidence level the fans have in that Cornwell Tools Funny Car. Tasca is a great pick, but it's interesting to see that, Hagen's still holding strong, but fans just, they traditionally will pick the number one qualifier. We have a lot of people that are new to the sport that don't know, how to take chances. We're trying to coach them up on, just because a guy's not number one has a good chance of going. But, you see, we need guys like, I'm a huge Caps fan. I think Caps, he gets underrated by the fans sometimes. And also they just kind of get into a little bit of a rut. But when this came out, you always pretty much see Austin close to the top and Tasca close to the top. And then John Force, when he's racing, he could be, I guarantee if Force was the number 17 qualifier, 2% of the people would still pick him to win the race.
Yeah, I mean, that's
they would just have a write-in. They would be like, "Yeah, I'm just going to scratch out whoever's the number 16 qualifier, assume that Force is going to get in there, and then I'm going to put my money on Force."
Yep, he's a GOAT, right? But he's actually had a good year though.
He had, and that's he's won a couple times. He's in the mix. So, the proc pick, it's funny. And Austin even asked me, he's like, one race, he was like, how often am I picked? I go, dude, you're the most picked driver of everybody, all categories. So he thought that was pretty funny.
It really is. And then let's go to Top Fuel.
The number 1 and number 2 qualifiers, Doug Coletta, Sean Langdon. And this graph really is by far the most choices. You can see the spots or the slices are a lot bigger. We're just, Brittany Force, Tony Stewart, Antron, Sean all getting, legitimate picks. And then even if you get down to Justin Ashley and Clay, I think that people know that the Top Fuel category is just so wide open.
Right.
The vast majority picked number 1 and number 2 qualifier just because they were obviously running so well over the weekend. But once you get beyond that, it is the wild, wild west in Top Fuel.
And Tony's going to receive a lot of the just celebrity fan votes.
Yeah,
right?
Tony probably gets there. There's no way right now for us to tell who gets the least hardcore fan pick. I think it would be Tony in Top Fuel, Tony Stewart, because people just recognize his name. John Force in Funny Car. I think Greg or Erica in Pro Stock. And I think Gage Herrera in Pro Stock Motorcycle, just because people go to the Google and type in Pro Stock Motorcycle NHRA and every story comes up. Wow. Gage Herrera's won 7 in a row. Gage Herrera's won 8
Correct.
in a row. They don't know anything. They're like, I'm just going to pick this guy because he apparently wins all the time. Which is
and if you're out there playing, remember that though as well. Yeah. That some of these picks like Tony Stewart, John Force, Gage, they are kind of a celebrity pick, per se. So money is going to be rolling in on them. So the odds will tighten up on them just for that money that's coming in.
And let's talk real quick about the all-time bracket buster of bracket busters happened this past Sunday.
The Kula.
When Angie Smith trailered her husband, Matt Smith. And it smoked. Matt was the second most pick in Pro Stock Motorcycle. 95% of the Pro Stock Motorcycle brackets went the minute that win light came on in Angie's lane. And you saw it on, so that was the thing that's so great about social media and our fans is they just came out voraciously about and the thing is, it was such a great race. That's the other thing I think that leans into, I think when we announced Play NHRA, there was a lot of speculation about, teams and team orders and husbands and wives. That race, Matt Smith 100% wanted to win that race, wanted to beat Gage Herrera if he got the shot, and he just got left on by his wife and outrun. And then that's the deal. So that was the biggest bracket buster. We've got some cool graphics we're rolling out this weekend to kind of highlight that. And then even though we talked about how volatile the Top Fuel category is, we had 8 perfect Top Fuel brackets in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. Now, because I went back and looked at it, there were not a lot of early round upsets. So once you got past the semis, there were the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, but still you're picking, Tony Stewart over Justin Ashley, which to a certain extent, a little bit of a long shot, so those things, but it was, and you're hoping that people get confidence, and if they can afford it and they want to have a chance to win, I'm kicking ass in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza.
That's right.
Maybe I will dip my toes over into FanDuel. So
I was doing way better.
Responsibly, get your win streak up in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, and then maybe check out Play NHRA.
I was doing way better in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza when you first started, and there wasn't very many people playing. And then now I log on to see where I'm standing, and I'm like, holy shit, man! How'd I get way back here?
It is. It's very funny that I'm terrible at Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, but apparently one race in, I appear to be okay on Play NHRA, which we'll see if that trend continues. I may have to talk to my wife about a career change.
Right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that our number is going to go down. We're probably going to be down there with Rex, in the soup line here before long.
Right.
You're not quite in the soup line. You're just in the
Not yet.
drive-thru.
My brain just goes to the fact that like my marriage didn't survive me losing at putt-putt golf. I can't imagine how Matt's marriage survives, after something like that.
Oh,
So
trust me, man. Like
I give him a lot of credit.
People are like, I thought your wife would be a better golfer. Why don't you teach her anything? Hey, you go over there and tell her. Which she'll listen. She'd listen to one of you guys.
Yeah,
she won't listen to me.
It's always the way. It's always the way.
But that's the exciting thing about Drag Race Bracket Bonanza is just you get that little skin in the game, and then you can also kind of keep an eye on the odds and stuff. And I just need to, as the odds come out, I mean, that's just more data for you to make your picks and stuff. And it's just kind of, it's a great time to, if you fantasies are dealing. It's also cool to talk to. I spent some time with some folks in Virginia, and I basically stock out all the autograph lines to hand out my QR codes and things like that.
Yep.
We're releasing a 30-second TV commercial for the Sunoco Vision at this race. I put it out online that Caps and Antron helped me with, and I got a bunch of drivers to help out. So
that's awesome, man.
It's kind of a cool deal.
It's really good to see how the drivers have gotten behind you on all this.
Yeah. It's there's some drivers like Antron threw in extra stuff when he won. And so they're definitely behind it. We're going to do posters again for the NHRA Insider. So you just want people to have fun and get engaged, and the drivers have been great about it.
Yeah. Well, it's smart. I mean, this whole thing has been good for the sport.
Yes, for sure.
Yep. And to see them like grab a hold of it and realize that, I mean, they could just as easily say, I'm busy, or whatever. But,
right.
But to take the time to do something personal for these winners is really cool. I mean, Mike got something signed even, Yeah. Mike
and
Carpenter.
Gage has been great. Gage has been signing plaques. He signed one 8 in a row. He signed one 9 in a row. And the one he just signed, I mean, that's a piece of history, It's because he signed a Gage Herrera 10 in a row.
That is pretty awesome, right?
Yeah. I mean,
very cool.
So that's cool stuff.
Yep. Well, thank you guys. And thanks to our sponsors, Drag Illustrated, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, Winlight Bets, and Racers Club. We wish you all the best. And remember, gambling money has no home. But have fun this weekend.